Holocaust Remembrance Day marked the start of the 36th International March of the Living, under the shadow of war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The Media Line's Veronica Nefak covered the story as it happened.
At the Great Synagogue of Budapest, under the bright sunlight, the March of the Living commences. Gathered here are Jews from all over the globe and survivors of the Holocaust joining together to march towards the Kaltenberg train station in bitter remembrance of unimaginable tragedy that took lives of over 6 million Jews.
The march was led by 80 Hungarian Holocaust survivors and joined by thousands more representing 25 countries.
As the evening descends, 5,000 people gather together just by the Kaltenberg train station and the Holocaust Memorial Ceremony to honor the memory of those who lost their lives in the Holocaust.
In a tragic union of past and present, Israel's President Isaac Herzog expressed deep sorrow over the horrors of October 7th and the alarming rise of anti-Semitism through a video message from his official residence in Jerusalem.
Right now, in these moments, the blindness of hatred is scorching our earth. The blindness of hatred has driven the enemies of the Jewish people and of the State of Israel to slaughter and torture, to pillage and destroy, to rape and abduct, what I call the Hamassacre. And the cries of our brothers and sisters, the slaughtered and the tortured, the beaten and the raped, the abducted, who remain in captivity, still call to us.
After concluding the ceremony at the Kaleti train station marking the point of deportation of Hungarian Jews en route to Auschwitz-Birkenau, the journey continued to the concentration camps, following the historic path of the original death transports from Hungary to Poland.
Auschwitz is a place that used to serve as a concentration camp operated by Nazi Germany during World War II. Here, 1.1 million Jews were murdered, and today it becomes a stage for the March of the Living, as anti-Semitism races dramatically all over the globe. Thousands of people, including students and delegations from all over the world, gather together to honor the memory of those who were killed during the Holocaust.
Rabbi Dr. Ari Berman, president of Yeshiva University in New York, who lost many family members in the Holocaust, shared the importance of this year's March of the Living and the significance the day holds for him.
All of my grandparents' families were killed by the Nazis in the Poland-Ukraine area. So just being here is viscerally so painful and evoking so much emotion. On a broader scale, of course, in the wake of October 7th, when the greatest travesty against the Jewish people happened since the Holocaust, the idea of remembering that unchecked hate leads to danger is a lesson that needs to be learned right now by everyone. So Yom HaShoah Commemoration Day, Holocaust Commemoration Day, specifically in Auschwitz, has a much greater meaning today that needs to be listened to and reckoned with by the greater society.
As universities across the world experience an unprecedented spike in overt anti-Jewish activity, Rabbi Berman led a group of university presidents and chancellors from the United States and Canada on a mission to share knowledge about racism, hatred, and anti-Semitism.
I am leading here a delegation of university presidents who've come with me to Auschwitz on a Holocaust Commemoration Day to make a statement that hate ends here, that this cannot happen again. And never again is a commitment that we take to ourselves. Never again is now.
I believe that we should make a difference between people who are striking for Palestinian rights and people who are striking because they think Jews shouldn't exist. So striking for Palestinian rights is right, and we should do it. But many people strike for Palestinian rights because they think that Jews shouldn't exist, and I think this is somehow really similar to what we experienced long ago.
The Media Line spoke to Dr. David Machlis, co-founder and vice chairman of the March of the Living, about the ignorance among young people regarding the Holocaust.
20% of the youth said that 20% said the Holocaust is a myth. I'm talking about 18 to 29-year-olds. Another 30% says it was either a myth or was exaggerated. Another 20% said they don't know anything about it. Imagine those numbers. I mean, those numbers are unbelievable. So with those kind of numbers, we have to make a difference.
This year's march is special as it commemorates the memory of not only the Holocaust survivors, but also the survivors of the brutal Hamas attack on October 7th. Chaim Taib, the leader of the October 7th delegation, shared his heart-wrenching story about what motivated him to bring the delegation to march this year.
After the October 7, I visit kibbutz Ena Shlosha. In this kibbutz, the people that took me to around the kibbutz show me a burned house from the October 7. This burned house, it's belonged to Jacqueline Glicksman. She is a Holocaust survivor. And the story was that the Hamas was inside her house. She was in the shelter, in the mamad, and she didn't know what to do because she was alone. So she jumped out from the window and ran away, and she survived. And I didn't know this lady, but I remember my grandfather. He was also a Holocaust survivor from Tunisia. He was in the labor camps, and he ran away in other way, but he also ran away after 5 months that he worked there, and he survived. So all this bring me to think about the delegation that I bring here for this mission.
Among the marchers were numerous students who stood in solidarity with the survivors and shared their recent encounters with anti-Semitic and anti-Israel protests at their universities.
We gather from around the globe, representing the next generation. As we feel our hearts heavy with the weight of history, we cannot ignore the troubling reality. We face a world tarnished by the rise of anti-Semitism, a world set ablaze by hatred. As the torchbearers of the future, we stand before you with unwavering perseverance, echoing our solemn pledge. We will always stand against the demonization of the Jewish people. As one of our fellow marchers so eloquently wrote, if we fail to uphold this pledge, the generations to come will be marching for us.
There's many anti-Israel and anti-Zionism protests that are happening all over campus all the time, disrupting our classes, disrupting our everyday activities on campus, saying horrible things about us, ripping down posters of hostages that we put up on campus, horrible things.
How does it feel to study in such settings?
Horrible. It feels unwelcoming, feels excluding, feels diminishing. Like, we're Jews and we want to feel like we're welcomed, not like we're discriminated against. It feels awful to have to go to a school and not be welcomed and feel like you're hated and be scared when you're walking throughout the hallways, to not speak Hebrew or to hide your Magen David under your shirt so that no one calls you out. It's awful.
I would say that I feel safe within my local JCC center, but when I go to school and when I go out to party, I hide my Magen David and I'm careful about all my actions.
Judith Samir, a Holocaust survivor who courageously endured both the horrors of Nazi persecution and the harrowing Hamas attack of October 7th, joined 55 fellow Holocaust survivors in a solemn march.
Because of the 7th of October, I personally felt that it is important to go a bit more back to our Jewish roots and to identify ourselves with the victims, which we are the second time, okay, but it's important, first of all, to be together with Jews not only from Israel but from all over the world, and secondly, to remember the whole world that there was something like the Holocaust, that it can happen again, and that we have a responsibility, not just we as Jews, the world too has a responsibility to try to not to let it happen again. Not anyone, not only, but see, we are accused of murder in the Gaza Strip, which is really, really, really wrong. because we know what. I can't say that isn't any soldier who did that and that. You know, we are human beings, but there's nothing similar even to what happened on the 7th of October. And for us, it was awful too, because we tried to have good relations with our neighbors. There were different times. Well, okay, back to today. I told you I came because I think this year it's important. The person of it wasn't easy. It was not easy. I thought I am very hard. I don't show feelings. It's still difficult to see. You see all around this wonderful land over here. Why build such atrocities? Why? What for? See, there could be wonderful houses for all the people around. Why destroy? That's the second thing that the world should remember, that you can make better use of your land and your surroundings.
The evening concluded with Israeli pop star Noah Carell's moving performance at the March of the Living, supporting everyone who bravely walked in the path of their ancestors in Auschwitz this year.
And together we can show to the world that we are strong. We are a very strong nation, the Jewish nation. We are strong. We are together, and we will survive. And I think this is what we have to show to the world. No matter what's going to happen, we will survive and we will continue life in Israel and in the world.
From Poland, Veronika Nefach reporting to the Media Line.